So I love my Sony cameras. I own a few mirrorless ones for capturing video, and I own one for photography. But one of the things I do dislike about my Sony cameras is the battery charging process. One of these cameras I own, the Sony a7S III, it came with a battery charger, but this battery charger only allows you to charge one battery at a time. In addition, that charger can only be plugged into an outlet. The charger does not have a USB cable option. This becomes really limiting when you're out on an adventure and you need to be able to recharge a battery or multiple batteries. Of course, one solution to this is to buy extra batteries and bring them along with you. But each of the NP-FZ100 batteries for that Sony camera cost $80 each. And when you're buying multiple batteries at $80 each, that cost adds up very quickly. After several years of just buying extra batteries for my mirrorless cameras, I wanted to see if there was something better. I recently picked up the Llano NP-FZ100 battery charger set. This set includes the charging case, and this charging case can charge 2 batteries at a time. In addition, this case includes 2 Llano branded NP-FZ100 batteries. So I wasn't sure if I would end up liking the charger and the 2 batteries, and most importantly, I wasn't sure if these would live up to expectations and do what they're supposed to do. However, I did find I was pleasantly surprised in 2 big ways. The first thing that surprised me about the Llano charging case is it does fast charge 2 batteries at a time. And it will fast charge them as long as you provide the charging case with at least 18 watts of power via USB-C. This will fast charge both batteries at a time. And I found this will charge both batteries from 0 to 80% in about 2 hours. And to get both batteries from 80 to 100%, it'll take about 2.5 additional hours. But this is where comparisons are really important. For comparison, the Sony BC-QZ1 charger that came included with my Sony a7S III will charge one battery from 0 to 100% in about 2.5 hours. However, this charger from Sony, if you have to buy the standalone, it does cost $98, and it does not include any additional batteries. It's $98 for just the wall charger. So if you do the math, charging 2 batteries on the wall charger here at 2.5 hours each is going to take about the same amount of time as this charging case charging 2 batteries simultaneously. So for the cost of about $100, you can either get this Sony standalone wall charger, or you can get this case from Lano that includes a charging case and 2 batteries inside it. And this charging case doesn't require you to be tethered to a wall. You can charge these batteries anywhere. And honestly, I wish I had looked into this case sooner before I bought so many extra batteries. This would have saved me some money, and it would have also saved me from lining up my batteries when I get back from an adventure and charging them all one at a time in this charger. So the second way this set surprised me is the compatibility and the capacity of the 2 batteries that came from Llano. First of all, I didn't expect the third-party batteries to give me as long of a runtime as the Sony official battery. However, surprisingly, these 2 batteries did give me the same amount of runtime as the Sony battery. And when I look at the capacity on these batteries, the capacity on the Sony battery is 2280 milliamp hours, and the capacity on the Llano batteries is 2400 milliamp hours. So technically, the batteries from Llano do have a slightly higher capacity than the Sony batteries. My guess is the Sony batteries probably have some type of more expensive engineering inside them that help them run a little bit more efficiently, and that explains why this slightly lower capacity battery holds about the same amount of charge as a slightly higher capacity Llano battery. So when it comes to compatibility, I expected at least one of my cameras to flash an error message when I put these batteries inside. I expected something like error, not Sony genuine battery, or error, batteries incompatible, but I've had no problems at all, and I've been using these batteries for several weeks now. And all of my Sony cameras are on the latest firmware, and these batteries have given no issues at all. So one other thing worth mentioning about this case that's also great about it is I do already own a bunch of those Sony NP-FZ100 batteries, and this case will charge those batteries as well. So it doesn't just charge the Llano batteries, it does charge the Sony batteries as well in here. And for me, this just adds further value to the case. Of course, the display on this case is also something I appreciate. All you have to do is push the button, and it's going to show you percentages here for both of the batteries. So you can know exactly how much charge your battery has at any given time. You can just push the button, and it's going to tell you how much is there. Versus this charger here from Sony, there is no percentage. There are some bars down here that'll gradually fill in as it gets charged. There's 3 different bars there. but there is no percentage, and I love having the exact percentage and knowing exactly what charge my batteries have. As I already mentioned, you can use this charging case with USB-C, and one of the great things about that is if you own a power bank like this one right here from Anker, that'll output at least 18 watts of charging power, you can fast charge your batteries with a power bank on the go. So you can be completely remote and charging these batteries. So the way in which I find myself using this is if I'm on an adventure and a battery runs out, I pop it into the case and I plug it into my power bank, and then I put both of these together in my pack. And if I'm concerned about it becoming unplugged, what I'll usually do is I'll have this plugged in, and then I'll use a rubber band to rubber band the charging case to my power bank. That way it doesn't flop around or accidentally pop open while I'm using it. So if you're going to use this charging feature well on the go while you're moving, I do recommend using the rubber band just to hold them together to make sure everything stays in place so the charging doesn't get stopped by a cable disconnecting or something like that. And of course, another feature I like about this is it does have that SD card slot right in here. And I can't tell you how many times I've not had an extra SD card with me, and I've either filled up my SD card and had to scroll through it to figure out which files I least want, or sometimes I've forgotten an SD card. And that's even worse when you don't have an SD card at all. So as a matter of practice, I like to just keep an extra SD card in here. That way I have it there, ready to go if I need it. So if you own the Sony a7S III, the Sony ZV-E1, the Sony a7R IV, or any other Sony camera that takes the NP-FZ100 batteries, I highly recommend checking out this case from Llano. It's really simplified my battery charging workflow with the convenience and the costs that make this a great value. I've linked to this product in the description below so you can check it out. Speaking of the Sony ZV-E1, if you're looking for a great vlogging camera that'll do incredible in low light, check out this video right here. In this video, I'll show you how the Sony ZV-E1 performed for me on a nearly 1 mile adventure through an underground train tunnel.